This land is your land. This land is my land. To love, to honor, to protect. But what about the other vast expanse of America that needs our love and protection? The Atlantic, the Pacific, the Gulf. They are our oceans. And they need us now. We urge the American people to join us to start a new fight. The fight to free our oceans and coasts. They need us to free them from pollution, from plastic, from oil drilling, and from habitat loss. Just as this land is your land, this ocean is your ocean. Our waves are as American as our mountains. Our water as vital as our soil. If our ocean dies, so will our land. The future of our great land is directly tied to the future of our great oceans. We are the United States and oceans of America.
So, New York's some form of medical waste onto the ground, and we collect rainfall. Those systems overflow. When those systems overflow, that material makes it into the river. When that material makes it into the river, offshore winds and more rain bring it directly into the ocean, which bring it directly onto the beach. Think, syringes washing up on the beach, 5 different beaches, they automatically assume medical waste. Where do these needles come from? How do this many needles end up in one place at one time? And it creates this mass hysteria, and people go crazy. They think somebody's out in the middle of the ocean dumping stuff, but when you look at the finer details and you break it down, and you kind of understand, about the sewage and the stormwater runoff, you get to see, exactly how this is going down. And it's not medical waste. It is 100%, climate driven. It is 100% individually driven, not dumping. People, there was loopholes to dump sewage into the ocean. It wasn't completely illegal, and so people just automatically assumed that it was people dumping. But no, this has been going on for some time, and every couple of years it resurfaces. Like I said, when these two things peak, when we get a massive amount of rainfall and the opioid epidemic is at its all-time high, you're going to see more syringes continue to wash up, and they've been washing up for years. Structure for these sewage and stormwater runoff systems are due to the state's negligence. It's it's a lot of money to fix these systems, and so when you bring it to their attention, to them it's like clockwork. They're not of course they're going to go out a little out of their way to do what they can, and there are rehabilitation centers who provide kits that you can dispose of needles, sharp containers, which are great, but the everyday heroin user is not going to abide by any rules that a rehabilitation center says or that a politician says. You know what I mean? If you're using, you're breaking the law as it is. But, what they do now is the New Jersey DEP is requiring permits for the operators of these plants where they accept waste, they accept hazardous waste, and so they're creating nets that fallouts, where you'll have water run out, but nets don't really catch much. Nets will catch bulk debris, but they won't catch fine debris. They won't catch just a small syringe. They won't catch little nurdles, little pieces of plastic that you can't catch at all. Jersey Shore chapters are the two biggest chapters on the East Coast, which is really great. There's over 150 chapters, and so to have two of the biggest on the East Coast is really great. But we get a lot of backup from our headquarters in California. A lot. When it comes to legal issues, like you mentioned, politics, for us to go and fight these battles and require that these operators have permits. We need legal backing. So, as globally, if we were just the East Coast, we'd have a lot of trouble doing it ourselves. But because we are global, we're able to assess the situation, and we're able to bring together people from all over the world, from all over the United States that have more of a background in the field than we do personally. But yeah, as a global organization, it is extremely beneficial to have that legal team. Clean water, healthy beaches, beach access is, all these things, they combine. It's 100% environmental justice. And that's, the really thriving issue right now, and especially in Jersey. Even with something like offshore drilling, stuff like that. A lot of beach access policies that are, really, really, really just old and outdated. And just like even something like this, like infrastructure that's outdated. Our environmental justice, like that's what we're chasing. It's education, right? You want to educate everybody at the lowest level possible, at the lowest age possible, and that's why we hold beach cleanups. I want people to get out there. I want people to, I don't want somebody to pick up a syringe, and I want them to hurt themselves, but I want them to see it. I want them to look down, and I want them to see exactly what is going on, exactly what's being put into the oceans, exactly what's coming up on the beach. That is, that's not like the ultimate goal, but it is right now. I think it's a great place to start. Just really educate people, open their eyes. It's you may spark somebody's interest enough to the point that they want to educate themselves, and in 5 years be able to go after these politicians and say, hey, here's what we need to do. Or you may be able to educate somebody who wants to get into upgrading these permits that you need to have in order to operate. And so it's really just starting at the ground level and educating people like our age who want to learn more, and the more that they learn, the more that they can do. And I think that's really the biggest problem right now, is everybody is just so uneducated on the topic that there's really not much you can do. Only so many people can do so much. So my name is Mike Castellano. I am a beach cleanup coordinator with the Surfrider Foundation Jersey Shore chapter.